We're delivering our rankings for the tight end class in the 2025 NFL Draft today on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast.
You are Locked On NFL Scouting with the Draft Dudes, your daily podcast for NFL and college football scouting. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's better than this? It's guys being dudes here on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast. We're the Draft Dudes. I'm Joe Marino from Locked On Bills. He's Kyle Krabs from Locked On Dolphins. And we are your NFL experts here with you daily to talk team building across the league on the Locked On NFL Scouting Podcast with the Draft Dudes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. One issue, a big thank you, shout out, and welcome to our everydayers. Those of you who never miss a single episode, we appreciate y'all being here very, very much. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase.
So happy Thursday. Happy 2 weeks out from the draft to you.
Same to you. Happy Masters begins day as well. Not
I wore my Masters.
That's what I was thinking. The green was surely because you're excited about the Masters.
Yeah, no, I can tell you, I don't think my household has ever had the Masters on the TV.
Oh, really? It's so good.
Never.
It's so good. Yeah, I like the Masters. I don't like the pimento cheese. Everybody's crazy about this pimento cheese. The worst thing in the world sounds like mixing mayonnaise and cheese together and serving that to people. I can't do that with some pits and olives, and I'm not doing it.
See, I see all these, like, the more you learn about the creation of cheese, the more shady the whole thing kind of feels, right?
Listen, I don't want to get in the weeds.
Let it mold and shave the mold off the outside of it, and then we're good. And
I mean, yeah, it's dude. I can put myself in a dark place with some of that stuff, but I'm still eating cheese. I'm still in it. You know, we're not quitting cheese.
All right, well let's not quit football talk here either, because we'll get into some of these tight ends. Pretty interesting group of tight ends. We're gonna look at our top fives, which for Joe, I believe, disclosed in the pre-show. That takes you through your top 100 grades.
Yep.
I have 6. So I might just throw my 6th in there for fun. And then look at day 3 favorites. And then Joe has some hypotheticals that replicating what we did with the running backs.
Yeah.
Right?
I loved how that came together, so I'm excited to do it again.
Great. And I did a total of 18 tight ends, 16 got draftable grades for me. So hopefully I can, get you a name or two, get you running back to the tape here as we close up tight ends today on the show.
Sounds good.
All right. Top 5. What I know it's a big moment to kind of put your flag in the ground and either do Colston Loveland or Tyler Warren.
I think they're really close. Like I don't think I would. I'm not alarmed if somebody has them in a different order. I'm really not. I can totally understand either player being your number 1 tight end. I'm landing on Tyler Warren as my number 1 tight end, and Colston Loveland number 2. Okay, that's kind of the chalky part of it. Then I have this Mason Taylor out of LSU number 3, Elijah Arroyo out of Miami number 4. They both have second-round grades for me. I have ones on Warren and Loveland. Then my number 5 tight end with a third-round grade is this Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon.
Okay.
That's my top 5 and all of my top 100 grades.
We were looking like we were going to be chalk there for a bit because I have Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, Mason Taylor, Elijah Arroyo.
Okay.
And I have top 32 grades on both Tyler Warren and Colston Loveland. And then I have second-round grades on both Mason Taylor and Elijah Arroyo. What's your separation between Warren and Loveland?
Not much. I mean, it's just they're very different players. If you
do you have a number on it, or is it more so just evaluations this year?
Just evaluations. Yeah, okay. I don't have a number on
it. They're separated by 2.5 points, which I think I would take Tyler by a decent amount. But I understand Colston is a more role-specific player, and if you're looking for that role, he could be an extremely valuable piece of your offensive weaponry.
Yeah.
Taylor and Arroyo are separated by 0.5 point, so they're very closely graded together. And then you had Terrence Ferguson.
Yeah.
I had Gunnar Helm from Texas.
It's my number 6, so he's
okay. So
he's my first 4th round grade.
He's my 5, and I have a 3. And then my other 6 is not Terrence Ferguson; it's Harold Fannin from Bowling Green. which is a very interesting player.
Very interesting, very polarizing. We've had conversations about him.
Just couldn't get there. It's okay.
I just can't. I can't get
He's
there.
not for you.
He's just, and maybe he'll be good. I just see too many things that I just get nervous about that makes it hard to forecast that for me. So,
all right. So that's my top 6, your top 5. So that's top 100 grades. Who do you want to dive into? I think maybe people might be surprised about Mason Taylor being tight end 3 for both of us.
Really, I have no idea what the normal thing is there, but with him, I was really cool. I watched every target that he in this past season, and I was watching it initially, and I'm like, can we please throw the ball down the field? Like, it was just a lot of
arrows in the flat.
Yeah, and it's great. Like, you get to see natural hands, turn and run, athletic, all that's really good. Then about mid-season, we started getting the down the field stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, all right, we got that part of the game too. And so I think as a receiving weapon, I really like him. I think he's competitive in everything that he does. He's athletic, very natural hands, and I think he's going to work. Like, I like the receiving profile here quite a bit. I'm surprised that people would be surprised that he wouldn't be tight end 3.
So I think part of the forecast here is, do you forecast him as a Y or an F? And you could do both, but like, if you were going to say, hey, you're probably more of this right now, which would you say?
Oh, he's the flex guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as a flex guy who had a pretty vast menu of blocking responsibilities
right
at LSU, I think there's some concerns about how he takes as a blocker early on, mixed with a receiving profile that I think was quite limited versus what he's capable of doing. His Senior Bowl stuff, he's running routes he didn't run once at LSU, and he looked amazing. So I think if you're just looking at what he was asked to do at LSU, you'd probably view him through a very specific lens that I don't think fully encapsulates what he's capable of being, and that's why I think he's a little bit more of a polarizing player.
Yeah, I think that's generally true about so many different players, where you have got to be able to understand both sides of that conversation, where, like, okay, he didn't do these things, he wasn't asked to do these things. What does the skill set suggest about him being able to do the things I need him to do? And it's like, from a receiving perspective, I really don't have any questions. And I thought you did. That's why I wanted to highlight, like, middle to the end of the season, the vertical components really started to show up more in what he was asked to do. And I think there's a pretty complete receiving profile here.
So a couple of good stats about Mason: 60% contested catch rate and 70% of receptions went for first downs or scores. So high value, high yield in the passing game too, not just somebody that looks really good running on the hoof and can create separation over the middle of the field. Like, he applied it with tangible value in just about every kind of scenario. And I think he can get there as a blocker too, because again, I think he had a pretty robust responsibility menu as a blocker too. And it didn't always look great. He didn't win the point of attack with consistency. He didn't create a lot of displacement, but I think he has enough of a frame to get there.
Right. And I think you probably want to be selective with your choices. I'm not going to ask him to drive block, defensive ends and count on that being successful, but can we get him in bunch sets? Can we get him on the move? I think that type of stuff is well within his wheelhouse.
Kind of feels, who did they have for a comp on my report? Kind of feels do you have any that you like before I drop a couple of mine?
I think Dalton Kincaid's not a bad name to invoke.
Okay.
I think Kincaid probably had a little bit more route running than Taylor.
I would lean Kincaid for either the Loveland or Arroyo type of player more than Mason Taylor, though.
Utah version, yeah.
Is he a little bit more? Is Mason a little bit more like Noah Fante?
Oh, that's interesting. Sure. Yeah, I could talk myself into that.
Okay, cool. All right, just a couple of names,
Yeah.
We want to get into any of these guys more after the break, or do you want to go to day 3 favorites?
Let's talk Arroyo a little bit after the break,
okay,
and then some day 3 favorites. So, folks, be sure to stick with us. There's nothing like the energy of a live game, whether it's catching a last-minute MLB showdown or soaking in the excitement of an NBA matchup. But finding great seats at a great price, that used to be a challenge until I found Gametime. Gametime makes scoring last-minute tickets easier than ever. Prices actually drop as the event gets closer, and with their all-in pricing, you see the total cost up front. There's no surprises at checkout. Here's why I love using Gametime. Well, it's the priority. You get the last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater events. You can grab last minute seats and save big with their zone deals. You get peace of mind with seat views before you buy, no surprise fees, and a lowest price guarantee. You can book with total confidence, and their lowest price guarantee means I'm never worrying about overpaying. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONNFL, LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Elijah Arroyo.
No questions about the vertical receiving skill set here, right? I mean,
Nope.
used down the field, making plays down the field, corner routes, seam routes, overs. I mean, this guy was pretty lethal, and obviously, Cam Ward was able to get things going with him quite a bit. I mean, this guy, what he averaged, like almost 17 yards a catch this past season. And then, of course, coming off, we had like an ACL late in 2022 that kind of impacted 2023. So, you're only getting 1 year of a production profile, but I think the receiving production that you saw in 2024 was really, really outstanding. And he's got good size, like 254, 6 foot, over 6'5", 33-inch arms, massive wingspan.
He's long.
Yeah, there's a lot there from a body composition perspective. He didn't test though. What's up with that? Do we know the deal there?
You put me on the spot here. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm sorry to do that. It's like was trying to validate athleticism. I'm like, oh crap, I don't have a single test. He did 22 bench press reps at the combine. That's all we have out of this guy. So not sure what that's about.
Bone bruise during the Senior Bowl.
All right. I had one of those.
It's not fun, right?
Not at all. I got it because a golf cart fell on top of my knee, and that was like a 3-week deal. And then I was ready to go. So,
I guess maybe with the rehab and the training and
yeah, I don't know.
I can tell you if you have any questions about how explosive this guy is, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe get a new pair of eyeballs.
That's probably a good point. Did you watch the tape and have a single level of concern about the athleticism? I just wanted to validate it.
What's really freakish about Arroyo, is he's not just straight line fast. He's so fluid for a player. Getting to the top of the stem and running outs or hitches or digs, all of those hard angles, and how easily, it's almost like he just runs up to the top, and then on that pixel on the screen, his entire body turns whatever amount of degrees it needs to. There's no wasted movement at the top of routes. For a player that's that size with that much wingspan, who has that much ability to also threaten and run by you, it creates a lot of headaches. And the medicals are going to be a big piece of the puzzle for him. Obviously, I know with the ACL, and then if you end up not having a complete athletic profile, teams are probably going to ask the questions. But 2/3 of his career snaps came in 2024. So it's a high variance player. As far as the ways in which it could break in a different environment. But if it clicks, you're talking game changer at the position.
100%. 100%. This would be...
He has potential. I think he's the potential to be what people thought Kyle Pitts was going to be.
Oh, yes. Because you don't have to you have to make excuses for him.
Right.
It's kind of a rough way to say it, but I feel so much more comfortable about the fullness of his role. With Kyle Pitts, you're he's really just a receiver.
Right.
I think there's an inline profile with Arroyo that I think makes him more complete, which is crazy to talk about a guy who was a top 5 pick. But if you want a guy to play tight end and not live in the power slot world, I think you got a lot more of a complete profile here.
But if you put Arroyo in the power slot,
great. Yeah.
He's going to have no problems winning in that role.
Yeah.
So he's not the most creative, like wiggle guy with the ball, but I think he's fluid enough and he's explosive enough and he's big enough that if you take bad angles on him, he's generally going to run out of soft contact and he's going to create yardage after the catch.
Yeah.
I mean, they're using him in screens. The ways that they moved him around and manufactured some touches was really fun too.
I'm jealous of these tight end screen games that exist in South Florida. They're pretty cool.
You have a player fully capable of executing some of those.
Yeah, but the rest of it has to work. The Bills have a screen game to Khalil Shakir, and that's it. It's really good to Khalil Shakir, but then that's it.
It's working pretty good. I'm gonna be honest. I wouldn't worry too much about tight end screen game.
Yeah, but you got a tight end that can do it. It's like, come on, let's get this stuff going. It's weird. See all these other teams doing it. I'm a little jealous. Okay, so that's Elijah Arroyo. Do we want to have a Harold Fannin debate? I think it just comes down to I think he's such a goofy athlete.
He's my 99th ranked player in the class.
I have a 5 on him.
Okay, and I have a 5 on Terrence Ferguson. So just flip flop those two players, and we're fine.
I think there's such a baseline level across the board with Terrence Ferguson where it's like, I know the range of outcomes is like, is it Dalton Schultz or Hunter Long? Like, I get it. There's extremes to it. I just felt like I saw enough of a receiving profile to think that he skews more to the Dalton Schultz part of that profile than the Hunter Long part.
You know who I saw? Luke Musgrave.
In Ferguson?
In Terrence Ferguson, yeah.
That makes me even more excited about him.
What's Luke done in the league?
He's been very good when he's been healthy.
Okay.
He's been injured. And then Tucker Kraft.
He lost the job to the lower drafted guy.
Yeah, as a dynasty owner of both Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave, I've been on this journey for the last 2 years.
And I'll say this is not a fantasy football and a dynasty fantasy football podcast by any means. But if a team double dips on skill players at the same draft, get them both.
Sure.
Somebody's going to win. There's a lot invested there.
I did. Yeah. But now I'm in this weird funk where it's like, do I keep rostering Luke Musgrave or is he okay to release? You know, it's a deep league.
I'd cut my losses there. You already got the win. 26 roster spots in a 12-team league. You know, these guys kind of matter. You got to kind of hoard them a little bit. So find an excuse to trade him.
Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants, and I want too much for him. Gunnar Helm, you had as a top 100 grade. I have a 4th round grade. If the testing never happened, I mean,
but he tested with a bad ankle.
Is that the scoop there?
Dude, he rolled his ankle on
the That's right. I saw that. I saw the film of that. That's right.
And then he took a picture and Rappaport tweeted it out, but forgot to crop out from Gunner, like on the
That's right. Yeah. You can see how that can happen, right?
With his bruised ankle. So, and I guess he did not end up testing. I think he's probably a mid 4.7 guy. He's not a fast guy.
Right. But he didn't look like a clunker though.
He's not a 4.9 guy either.
Yeah.
Like he did, I guess adrenaline let him finish the workout, but
yeah,
he would not 100%. But you watch him on film, like he gets the ball in his hands, he'll go over the top of you.
Yeah. This guy wants to jump over everybody.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm like, I don't know if this checks out. Now that I've been reminded of that, I appreciate that.
But let me ask you this. Run after the catch with the ball in his hands. Would you take him or Terrence Ferguson? That's not. I'm going to ask you about.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I think it's a little bit close, but I might go with Helm.
Okay, him or Harold Fannin?
Him.
Helm.
Yeah, Helm. Yeah, I said him. Yeah.
I would not take Helm over Arroyo after the catch.
No.
I would not take Helm over Taylor after the catch.
I agree with that.
Would you take Helm over either Warren or Loveland after the catch?
No.
Probably not.
No.
But like all the other players in this range, and that was kind of part of the dividing factor for me. I'm like, this guy can make some plays with the ball in his hands too. In addition to, I think Texas probably the parallels between the Dolphins offense at the NFL level and the Texas offense at the college level. I saw a lot of 1-for-1 reps. And part of the Dolphins' problem at tight end is they give these super ambitious asks to these guys. And I saw some of that with Gunnar Helm. It's like, you're going to hit that block 1 out of 10 times. It's just you're really never going to get there.
Right.
And they did some of that with Helm, so I know like the Pro Football Focus grade's really bad for Gunnar Helm as a blocker. But I watched him and I'm like, if you give this guy reasonable asks, he's more than capable of holding his own.
Yeah. I had one thought when I was watching Gunnar Helm, and it was this. After watching, Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, Jatavion Sanders, Jonathan Brooks.
Here it comes. Don't forget the offensive lineman.
Jordan Whittington, Kelvin Banks. This year it was
they have Cam Williams.
Cam Williams.
Jake Majors at center.
Bond and
Isaiah Bond.
And Golden. I realized that I didn't have to watch Quinn Ewers play college football ever again. So it was a big moment. Was happy to shut that tape off.
Huge.
Yeah. All right, maybe some more day 3 conversation, and I've got some situational propositions for Kyle Krabs here on the other side of it, folks. Please be sure to stick with us.
All right. Favorite day 3 tight end grade?
I like a lot of these guys for different reasons, but there's a piece of me that really likes this Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame.
Okay.
I think he's got that, the frame to work in line. There's like some receiving ability. He's a little rigid, but like
he's got sneaky ball adjustments.
Yeah, like some beastly moments there with like at the catch point.
Like, get it. Yeah.
Please God, don't let this get crazy out of control. But like some of those catch point moments kind of reminded me of Trey McBride, where it's just, come on. No, you did that on purpose. Not obviously Trey McBride's the highest paid tight end in the NFL for good reason. Had unbelievable seasons on a great trajectory, but like that just beastliness at the catch point was something that I enjoyed. And now we got an inline frame as well. It certainly has played behind some really good tight ends as well there. So I think he's a guy middle of day 3 that I think you can roster, and I think he's got special teams background as well, if I'm not mistaken, which is helpful. Like you're looking to find paths to get a jersey on game day and stick. I think that will help Mitchell Evans on Notre Dame.
I have 2 4s. One on Jackson Hawes from Georgia Tech.
You can't shake the blocking, can you?
A war daddy.
Yeah, he is. He is.
He will wipe you off the face of the earth, and I love that at tight end.
Yeah.
And Thomas Fidone from Nebraska. I don't know if you got a chance to catch him or not.
I didn't watch him. I know some love out there, athleticism, I think.
Really interesting. So he was one of the juniors that got to the Senior Bowl. I want to pull up my full report just to kind of give you the punch list here. But I was really surprised when I watched him. See some Greg Dulcich here. Just to kind of paint the picture of another name. Massive catch radius, 82.5-inch wingspan. He wins as a route runner in ways that like he's a better route salesman than I expected he was going to be as a younger guy that really didn't put up big numbers before this year. And he does play with the dog. He's got his hair on fire. He plays with a great sense of urgency. But he had knee injuries in both 21 and 22 that cost him all but 1 game in those 2 seasons combined. So you're looking at big time medical flags. You're looking at small sample size of production, but he was a top 50 recruit in the country. Like he was a prized recruit that never really put it together at Nebraska until this year. And then takes advantage of my stock is high. I'm healthy. I played well this year. I'm out. Ideal scheme fit role from the report projects as a flex tight end early in his career, has enough route running ability and pass game prowess to be an early contributor on his rookie contract, but teams with big ambitions to try to stack some more mass on his game and unleash him as a do-it-all player. If he hits, he's a Pro Bowl caliber talent.
Ooh. I guess I should watch Mr. Thomas Fidone.
I liked him a lot, and I got to him late. I was not expecting him to like him like that.
That's a fun one to get to late in the process.
It's always a breath of fresh air, right? You're through like 230 guys, and it's like, what UDFA do I got next on the list? And then you get a guy that's like, this guy early day 2 kind of great.
They really stand out, right? They really stand out.
Pop. So who else do you like on day 3? And then I know we want to get to these hypotheticals. Somebody else you like for a specific role.
This Maliki Motavo out of UCLA.
Yes.
I mean, and kind of a lot of the reasons I talked about Mitchell Evans. Like, I mean, he's like 260 pounds, certainly has the
built
frame.
like a tackle.
Yeah,
he's built like a tackle.
He's big. He can catch the ball a little bit too. So rosterable guy, I think, with some ceiling to develop into. Did he actually led UCLA in receiving this past year? Maybe you didn't expect that to be true, but he did with 506 yards.
Right.
So yeah, I think there's some appeal there.
Yeah, moves well for a 260 plus, 270 pound tight end. But you saw him at the Senior Bowl, and it's like, holy cow, this dude did the like lower half's built like a tackle. Like he is very rocked up, very dense. Meets kind of that stereotypical Y type of role. The other player I would want to shout out here in this block, Joe, is Jalen Conyers from Texas Tech. I don't know if you had a chance to watch him either.
Fake name.
So he's like if you miss Tyler Warren, who can you come back on day 3 and get like a discount version of? Former quarterback. They do the direct snap stuff with him. And he was at Arizona State before he transferred to Tech and does some direct snap short yardage stuff. Big time flex athlete. Who's the tight end that went out of Oklahoma that went to San Francisco like 2 years ago or last year? Braden Willis.
Yeah.
Does that name ring a bell for you?
Yeah. Yes.
There's like the variety and like multi-tool, where's Waldo element of him that exists. Like Conyers gives you some of that too. So fun player, kind of an underproducer versus what I think is his potential has been. But I have an early 5 on him. I have the same grade on him, Terrence Ferguson, and Mitchell Evans.
Wow. All right. So ready for some scenarios?
Bring them. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get real specific here. Now, I have a bit of a deal here. Like, you can't just say Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland for every one of these. So, like, maybe you can.
I'm not going to try to say him for any of them.
All right. That makes this more fun. All right, so new Colts defensive coordinator Lou Anarumo. He runs the highest amount of 2 high, middle of the field open coverages in the NFL. You're the Jaguars, and you're ready to go on a run. You want to win the AFC South in year 1 under Liam Cohen. You feel like you need the right tight end to work the middle of the field, attack underneath coverages, and the passing game. Who is that guy for you? Kind of that zone beating tight end.
I'm going to go Mason Taylor here.
Any additional thoughts there?
Well, I think as you mentioned, the second half of 2024, you saw them kind of get Mason up the seam a little bit, but he's so, I think, savvy with feeling space and finding space and like occupying space and making himself available. That's the player that I want. If you're telling me we're going to get a lot of zone coverage for these matchups, but I still want somebody that can run the scheme and get up behind the second level and split the safeties. I think Mason's got the athletic profile and then the spatial savvy to work the middle of the field when he's pushing and then needs to gear down and take space.
Dig it. All right, next one here. I keep on bringing up Aaron Glenn because that defense is so unique. So Aaron Glenn loves man coverage. He loves base defense. He's the head coach of the Jets. We're the New England Patriots, and we want to add a tight end to this roster that could take advantage and be a mismatch player against linebackers and safeties and man coverage. We're going to get those looks against the Jets. Who's the tight end that we're taking to get this done?
This needs to be Elijah Arroyo, right?
Yeah, I was thinking that's where you would go with this one.
Nightmare. You're putting linebackers on him. You're going to get killed. So Elijah Arroyo, the answer there. He'll run away from every linebacker.
All right, next one. We're the Los Angeles Chargers. It's time to dethrone the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC West. The Chiefs last year, they gave up the most production in the league to tight ends, which I think is a consequence of their heavy pressure schemes, and they trust Nick Bolton to play in space and play man coverage against tight ends. We really want a guy that could take advantage of yards after catch opportunities against that defense. Who are we taking?
I could take the low-hanging fruit here and say Colston Loveland. But if I was going to not opt out, guys that I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tight ends were tied for the highest out of 10 points that I gave run after catch ability to. Mason Taylor and Elijah Arroyo. Already burned those two. Colston Loveland, who's the other name that I mentioned. The other two names, one's more of an early day 3, the other's kind of a late day 3 developmental type. Terrence Ferguson from Oregon is one, and Jake Brenningstool from Clemson. A little bit more undersized. He's in the 230s, but he moves like he's in the 230s. So he can kind of make some moves with the ball in his hands. Those are the 5 guys that all scored the same for the highest for like run after catch ability for me.
All right, this next one's the last one, and we know you're going to say Jackson Hawes, so we'd like 2 answers from you on this one.
Hawes.
The Baltimore Ravens, they're tough to run the football on, and we're the Cleveland Browns, and we want to develop a game plan to attack the edges of their defense in the run game. We want to lean into wide zone and outside run concepts, but we need the right blocking tight end to win the edges. Who are we taking besides Jackson Hawes?
Yeah, so Jackson Hawes, 1,000,000,000%. That would kind of remind me of when the Steelers took Darnell Washington, right? It's like, oh yeah, here you go.
Right.
I could see if you told me Gunnar Helm ended up having a very productive wide tight end type of role at the NFL level, I would not be surprised. And if you're looking for your Baltimore, potentially looking to replace the Mark Andrews role in your offense, I think Gunnar Helm's capable of being that kind of player. So I would say Gunnar Helm is my not Jackson Hawes, just like steamroll bouncer, kick you out of the club type of player as a blocker on the edge.
Dig it. No further questions, Your Honor.
There you go. That's going to do it for us here today on Locked On NFL Scouting. We managed to talk about, of the draftable graded players, the ones we didn't mention were Oronde Gadsden II out of Syracuse, Luke Lachey from Iowa, and CJ Dupree from Alabama. It was the only draftable tight ends that didn't get at least some kind of shout here on the show. So good encapsulation of the tight end class. Kyle Krabs, Joe Marino. We have takes on takes tomorrow, so you have that to look forward to. We hope you will come back and see us then as we react to all of your hottest takes. Joe will ask for them later today on X, and we hope to see you